This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post, brought to you by the Fort Hall School of Government, coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you may have missed this morning. We also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 10th of June, 2022, and I am Serbia.
I am MC Squared.
And I am DK, your host. In case you missed the headlines, here they are. In the Daily Nation, block these people, ESC tells Chebukati. In the Standard, IEBC test the tough questions.
Indeed.
In the Star, Mwangangi, 3 a.m. call that saved my life from abuser. And in the People Daily, IEBC in storm over voter list. Before we continue, today we have a debutant whose name is equal to a mathematical formula. MC Squared, welcome to the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines.
Thank you.
Before we say anything today, we want to start with a word of prayer.
And unto this date, we want to come into agreement with the Kenya Kwisha.
Serbia, please take us.
Sure. This week, DP Ruto's running mate Gashawa has been working overtime to neutralize Martha Karua inroads in Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
It was not lost on us that the Nyeri and Kirinyaga rallies particularly were poorly attended. He was booed and heckled and the residents avoided him like a plague. Gashawa was left preaching to his convoy of cars and a few lethargic passers-by. This is startling as some of these counties were UDA strongholds, which is incredibly ironic since Gashawa was chosen as DP because he was a voter mobilizer. Yet he is not living up to his purpose. In fact, it is not just him. Recently, Mudavadi was pleading with his backyard to vote for ANC and not UDA, even though it should not matter because they are in a coalition together. Amason Kingi has excised Ruto from his campaign posters like a cancer. Kimani Ngonjiri was urging us to vote Baba at the top. No one has heard from Wetangula. Mutua went MIA and Muturi is non-existent. These facts do not reflect the story Ruto is telling us, that Kenya Kwanza is a well-organized, well-oiled campaign machinery. But are things really as they appear? We only need to look at Gashawa to know that they are not. If Gashawa cannot mobilize people at a rally in UDA strongholds, how can he mobilize 90% of Gema that Ruto needs to win the presidency? Well, Martha Karua is capable of running a full-fledged independent political campaign. Rigathi is still in political diapers. Well, Martha is in Kisauni, Makueni, Garissa, and touring the country. Rigathi is finding it difficult to do politics beyond counties he can address in Kikuyu. However, UDA has been working fervently to show us that the ground is on their side. The Bonoko intelligence has been doing lazy photoshops and amplifying pictures just to show us they have the ground. That is why we can't help but ask, where were these numbers when during UDA party primaries, which recorded a 2% attendance? Does this then confirm to us that their crowds are imported and Ruto political strongholds are only in Dennis Itumbi's Twitter page? Or does the poor attendance at his own rallies mean that Gashawa can't prompt a turnout without the presence of Ruto? And if this is the case, does this mean that Ruto is campaigning for Gashawa and not the other way around? When you combine Gashawa's shortcomings with that of the other mega players of the Pesa Kwanza alliance, only one question emerges. Has Kenya Kwanza kwished? And if so, how did it happen? Ruto's failure is a simple one. He surrounded himself with people who were just like him. But the similarities created the disparities and repelled Kenya Kwisha members away from each other. It was a case of like poles repelling, similar to the idea in physics. Think of it like a magnet. If Baba and Mother are two North Poles and South Poles, Ruto and Gashawa are two North Poles, actively repelling each other and their voters, no matter how hard you may try to force them to stay together. UDA is birds of a feathers, characters with deep pockets and colorful pasts stained with scandals that read longer than a State of the Nation address. From the outside, the UDA house seems all rosy, but inside it's just chaos. UDA members are only left to repel each other and become allergic to each other in the UDA house. Kihika is allergic to Kimani Ngonjiri. ANC is allergic to UDA. Kikuyus are allergic to Gashagwa. Everyone is repelling in different directions.
Yeah.
And Ruto is to blame because of his self-defeating strategy.
Yeah.
He made himself quite strong and made it such that no member of his alliance can do without him. While Azimio are making sure they coordinate and work together as a team, in Ruto's camp, it's a one-man extravaganza. But perhaps even Mother's effect will not be needed to finish off Ruto's camp, as they are already doing it by themselves.
And talking of strategy, today I want to talk about the science of strategy.
Science of strategy.
We are 59 days to the election date.
Yes.
Politics is a war on many fronts, and each front requires a strategy.
True.
Yeah.
Strategy is where Baba is excelling over Ruto.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
By the way of a story about the Allies and the Germans from the Second World War. Germany's strategy was called Blitzkrieg.
Yeah.
It was a strategy of speed. Here is what happened. Germany favored maneuver tactics in war. It was a concentration of force that overwhelmed the enemy. As air bombings occurred, fast-moving tanks and infantry moved quickly to destroy the enemy lines and formations. It happened so fast that you blinked and lost the battle.
Yeah.
This offensive was so successful, in less than a year, Germany had captured France, Poland, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg.
Wow.
The success of this strategy would be overturned 4 years later, in 1944, during the invasion of Normandy. Normandy was a brilliant strategy where the US, British, and Canadian forces landed on 5 different beaches in Normandy. It was the largest amphibious military strategy in history.
Yeah.
But unlike Blitzkrieg, the success of Normandy was not speed. It was a solidification of effort and extensive planning. Now, politics is a two-sided coin of Blitzkrieg and Normandy. Ruto moved with speed and started his campaigns even before 2017.
Yeah.
It is the only reason the Archieik was caring to him. Like Blitzkrieg, he has concentrated all his forces in Gema.
Okay, yes.
His weapons are lies and doublespeak to the Gema voter. His agenda is for the poor, yet he visits them with helicopters.
Yeah.
He promises heaven, and he does not own the heavens. He says the government he helped form has failed
Yeah.
and succeeded in the same sentence.
True.
He sells mitumba, but wears bespoke suits. That, my friend, is what you call propaganda. Remember, a blitzkrieg can win a battle, but cannot win a war.
Yeah.
And as I said, politics is a war on many fronts.
Yeah.
Raila, Babaman, on the other hand, knew he needed the Kamba vote, number one, the elusive Gema vote, and his 44% strong constituency.
Yeah.
So, he pulled a Normandy. Extensive planning and effort. He brought the mountain, the lakeside, the coastlands, and the plains of Mau together to guarantee a victory.
Yeah.
You saw them during the launch of the manifesto. By doing that, he automatically guaranteed himself 7.1 million votes. Now, he only needs 500k votes to cross the 50% plus one, which is actually less than 10% of the Gema vote. Now, if Raila has always obtained 6% from Gema, Karua's task is to bring only 4%. And we know she has already done that.
You speak like Einstein. But today I will pose that the race to State House is only between Raila Odinga and Professor George Wajakoya. End of story. William Ruto is out of this, and everyone else, which only one person left, is a sideshow. In fact, Raila should watch his back, because this Wajakoya man is the real deal.
If you know, you know.
The hustler narrative as presented by William Ruto was meant to be disruptive to our politics. But what Ruto did not know is that disruptive ideas like the hustler narrative are good, yes, but they have an expiry date.
All the time.
His mistake was in introducing the hustler idea too early, like you're saying, 4 years. Now, it is expiring and Ruto is riding on a rapidly deflating tire. The Wajakoya, Bangi and Snakes narrative has relegated William Ruto's bottoms-up and Mama Mboga stories to look and sound like a Mitumba narrative. Wajakoya has breathed fresh air into the presidential race by offering a more interesting view of things, including Bangi. On the other hand, Ruto's hustler narrative of misery has become stale and it's beginning to smell and stink. It is attracting flies. It is overused and overabused, and it is, rather, its shelf life has expired.
Yeah.
That is why it has become a Mitumba version with Wajakoya now in town. Wajakoya represents the truth against the lies of William Ruto. He is not only a legit version of the hustler, he is hustler pro max. One cannot define a hustler and use Ruto and Wajakoya in the same sentence. Zero can happen. For instance, George Wajakoya, professor, my professor at the university, has been a chokora. He has been a CID policeman and is a man who has been to exile like Raila Odinga. When Ruto was being born politically by MOI in 1992, Wajakoya had gone to exile due to fear for investigating the murder of Robert Ouko. This is a man who is talking of Bangi and snakes, and when you look at him, he actually looks like a Rastaman from downtown Kingston, Jamaica, and a possible snake farmer. But what does Ruto, the hustler, look like? He looks like 5 choppers. He looks like huge pieces of land. He looks like a sitting deputy for the last 10 years. And according to Kibisho and Matiang'i, William Ruto looks like a man who is guarded by over 250 police officers, elite police officers.
True that.
In short, Ruto is beyond the threshold of a hustler. He cannot call himself a hustler if Wajakoya is in town. And that is why Wajakoya is making more sense than Ruto today if you are talking about hustlerness. If Ruto brings his chicken, Wajakoya will bring his snakes, and they will swallow the chicken plus their eggs. This man Wajakoya is the real deal. Now, to Raila Odinga, you wanted a presidential race, and now a presidential race you have got. 9th of August will be between you, Babaman, and Professor George Wajakoya. If Raila will represent reforms and the first woman deputy president in Mother Karua, Wajakoya will offer disruption and also, like Raila, offer a woman deputy president as a worthy substitute to William Ruto. In the meantime, William Ruto should start licking his wounds on his way to Sugoi. And I think he should also take Rigathi Gachagua with him.
Wow.
End of story.
You have given us an autobiography of Wajakoya.
Wajakoya. Now, in case you missed the headlines, let me repeat them. Daily Nation, block these people, EAC tells Chebukati. In the Standard, IEBC test the tough questions. In the Star, Mwangangi, 3 a.m. call that saved my life from abuser. And 4 in the People Daily, IEBC in storm over voter list. So what do you guys think about the headlines today?
Well, I like the Standard. It's relevant.
Yeah.
It's topical. With CJ Koome putting IBC on notice to get their act together. I think a slight oversight on their part may well lead us to an nullification like 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, and I think the big question here, one of the tough questions, is to ask whether IEBC will actually deliver a credible election come the 9th of August this year. MC Squared, anything?
I really like the standard one better. They are straight to the point, and the question to IEBC is, are they going to deliver a credible election?
Yeah.
It's really important to ask that question now, so that we evade the Maraga situation.
The Maraga mess.
Yeah.
So, do we give it to the Standard as our winning headline?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
So we toss the rest. Yup. There you have it. Standard gives us the winning headlines. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Winning Headlines. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on your TV channels on Pang Free to Air, Go TV, and Star Times. I will leave you with a quote given by our founding father, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and he says this: "Our children may learn about the heroes of the past, but our task is to make ourselves the architects of the future." Enjoy your weekend.
God bless.